Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Chicken Box. You are live. We are live. It's lunchtime. Maybe you got something to eat. I'm Kevin Impeccable Peck, your host, along with Courtney Alexander and Tony Francis, Dr. Draper, the CEO of the Afro News. How are you guys this wonderful, wonderful Thursday?
I am well impeccable. I have a chicken salad. Does that count as a chicken box?
Is it boxed in?
Yep, it's in a you know it's it's in a plastic container. It's not a red and white greasy box though.
But I'm gonna get off subject real quick. You know, when you're on a Zoom or some kind of streaming digital meeting, it is so rude to eat
Right.
when
So the
you're on the
folks
Zoom
on
because
the
people
folks,
don't think they chewing right, and they just they trying to do like it. We
or they
still
do
see you.
or
We
they do
actually do see
or
you.
they turn you
All
off
right,
on you.
enough about the food for right now. Yeah, that's what the button is for. Look, if you've never been to the Chicken Box, it is powered by the Afro American newspaper. Yes, Maryland's oldest black business, 131. I used to say 130 last year, but we are heading towards 131, everybody. And we're excited about that. And we like to share, inform, inspire, and educate with different topics every week. Um, I didn't hear from you, Courtney. I'm sorry. It is so rude to not hear from the because they will emote on you. I don't need you emoting on me, Courtney, and say you ain't even speak to me. Gen Zers, they got it. It's a whole a whole different movement. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed to be here, and we're finally being hit with that 70-degree weather. So it's nice to not have snow or rain, just sunshine.
Chicago, you gotta love it. Chicago is wonderful in the summer. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place in the summer. But let's get into it. Black people versus financial literacy. That is our topic today. How competent are you about finances? Literacy always seems like some kind of word that's like literate. You've heard it, ear literate, or all kind of things that have been thrown out there. But when it comes to your finances, how literate are you? We have a special guest who just participated in our Black Business Matters hybrid conference, which was a huge success for those who were able to watch. We're going to show some of the sessions on a replay. Thank you for joining us. But we have a special guest, Anthony Stewart, with us today. I'd like to bring him on. Anthony, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
Welcome to the Chicken Box. Why don't you give people one? Well, Courtney, would you rather just come on? Let's give him the. Taryn, do we have the drum roll sounds yet in there? No, or is it just the horn? We're working on our sound effects. But
I
why don't you
could always
introduce our
I could
guest?
always sing, but everybody will hang up. Yeah. Go ahead, Courtney.
Right. Don't sing.
I'm not.
Thank you for joining us, Anthony. Anthony
Glad to
Stewart
be here.
is the president and co-owner of American Classic Agency, where he has partnered since 1997. Mr. Stewart is also the CEO of Stewart Financial Services, and he has received the American Classic Excellence Award 7 times over the years, among numerous other awards for leadership in sales. He is also a co-author of the book Saving Middle America, Securing Financial Dreams, where he shares the importance of planning and understanding tax-free strategies while growing wealth for middle American families. He's also a member of the Million Dollar Roundtable.
All right. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome. When you just come on and say $1 million round table, I know this isn't about the round table, but we can get into that in a minute. You have to have some kind of financial literacy. Anthony, why don't you tell us about really what it is that you do and what's your mission here?
All right. Yeah. The main thing we want to do is protect income, eliminate debt, so that we can start creating financial legacies. That's what our mission is, and that's what we stand on a day-to-day basis, and that's what the agents wake up and do every single day. So we got to really, really bridge that wealth gap, and we got the tools, and just got to know the rules and how to play the game.
You said the agents. Tell us about the agency.
Yes, we have over 1,000 agents all across the country. The big population is here in the DMV. We work with people from all diverse backgrounds, retired military, school teachers, people that actually wanted to be in financial services. We have part-timers also. So that's one thing that's unique about us is that we're not a career shop where they only can do full-time agents. A lot of times we need to make that transition from part-time to full-time. I was part-time for 3.5 years before I left my corporate job at Xerox. I needed to make sure I wanted to do this for a living. so July will be 30 years. July will be since I've been doing this thing full time. So I'm excited about that.
So, Courtney, when you hear the word financial literacy, what comes to mind?
To me, that's like understanding different components of finances, like being financially free, like budgeting. Sorry, I cannot talk today. Also just like being financially free and understanding how to like balance your finances.
Dr. Draper?
So when I hear the words financial literacy, I'm thinking about having knowledge about all different ways that you can maximize whatever finances you might have and be literate about it, understanding those. And so for some people, it may be the standard stock market. For some people, it may be, something with Bitcoin. For some people, it may be an insurance product, but just to differentiate between the various ways to wealth. And I think our guest will tell us that there are many ways. He may have one that he prefers over the other, but part of financial literacy to me is having a balanced portfolio of ways that lead down the road to wealth as you define it. Because you know what, and Anthony, you can speak to this, we define wealth in dollars and cents. Some people don't define wealth that way.
Mm.
It's do I have enough to eat and roof over my head and clothes to wear and I can go where I want to go, and that's wealth. But when they die, it ends with them.
That's
so
right.
Being literate around estate planning, the different kinds of trusts, I think all of that is a part of financial literacy.
Absolutely. So Anthony, thank you for tuning in, everybody. This is Black People versus Financial Literacy. How literate are you? We have a special guest, Anthony Stewart, with us, who's had over 30 years in the industry. And Anthony, what are some of the key aspects that you think for just getting somebody to begin to become literate financially?
All right. Well, last year I said I was going to not call it financial literacy anymore. I was going to call it financial empowerment.
Hey, I like that better because literacy sounds like a
So
big.
if I'm not financial literate, that means I'm illiterate. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I just think it begins with a mindset. You know what I mean? You got to have the mindset and to understand what you're really worth. You really do. I just think people don't really understand what they're really worth. It really boils down to the steps to building your financial house in the right order. And I think most Americans don't do it in the right order. And let me give you an example of that. If you think about it, when you start a new job, what's the first thing they say? All right, fill out these papers and start putting money into your retirement plan at work. That's not building. I mean, you could do that, but what happens when you can't do that anymore? What happens if I die in the first year of employment? What does my family get? So we have to change our mindset as it relates to life insurance. I think that's where it really begins. And understanding that life insurance is not about just dying. It's really not. It's the guaranteed way to transfer wealth. I can't do it.
Are you reading this comment? Somebody says, "Can you speak to how?" Or y'all just on the same page today, right? Go ahead with it, Anthony. Keep it going.
Okay, let me speak to that. Number one, again, understanding your worth, and let me give you a good example. I believe that most Americans are worth over $2 to $3 million, and let me tell you what I mean by that. If you figure if a guy or gal is 40 years old, and let's just say, for example, they make $80,000 a year. If they don't make, and they plan to retire at age 65, that's an example. Mm-hmm. If they don't make it home from work tomorrow, 80,000 times 25 years, that's over 2 million. That's $2 million that family is not going to get if that breadwinner does not make it home. So we got to understand our worth. We are a major asset. So as it relates to insurance, where else can I go and I could make one payment and I die, my family could get $1 million. I don't know of any financial vehicle that I could do that with. I can't do it with the stock market. I can't do it if I buy $1 million home. I don't know what that home is going to be worth 10 years from now, 10, 20 years from now. But $1 million policy is going to pay my family $1 million tax free. So that's just the death part. But what if I'm living, right? And I have a cash value policy and I have $100,000 worth of cash value. I want to go buy a house or I want to go buy an apartment building and I'm not yet, and I'm under 59 and a half. Where does that money come from? If I touch my retirement plan and work, that's a 10% penalty. But I could go into my insurance policy with no questions asked, have guaranteed access, non-structured payments, meaning I pay it back when I feel like it, right? They use my policy as collateral, so I mean, the policy still performs as if there's not a loan taken out against it. I'm guaranteed compound interest. I mean, so we got to understand how the wealthy use it. They don't use it just for death. They use it for tax reasons. And that's what we got to start doing.
So that's both financial empowerment and financial literacy, right? because you have to understand it. So, so we hear you. What do people say usually? What's people's hesitation to doing what you suggest?
To doing it?
Or is there any hesitation? It may not be any.
Well, some people think, insurance, it's, we all listen to the same radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me, right? So when we think about insurance, well, that's for my loved ones when I die. It is. It's supposed to be. The Bible makes it real clear. We are supposed to leave an inheritance, not only for our children and our children's children. But what's in it for you also is, suppose you need to go buy a new car, right? Either we're going to pay interest or we're going to become our own bank. So now I don't have to go and take out a loan from Truist. I can go in my policy and take it out without asking anybody. So that's control. You know what I mean? That's control, having liquid cash. I use this acronym called LUCK, right? I always ask people, how's your luck as it relates to your finance? They say, well, what do you mean? The L means liquidity. Can I get to it? Use is the U, control. So we got to understand who controls our money. The government controls our retirement plan at work, not us.
Keep it going, man. I mean, we speak on that. Okay, listen. If you just tuned in, listen, sometimes people don't like to talk about literacy. So we're going to lose that word. We're going to say Black people versus financial empowerment, because
that's right.
When you get the knowledge to do better, then you should do better. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes something, it's the better thing to do. What that doesn't mean that you take steps to do it. And a lot of us don't take steps to do it until a tragedy happens and it's too late. And you said, man, Anthony talked to me about securing a financial path for my children and children's children. And I just heard it and it sounded good, but I did not, one, know where to start, or maybe I did, or two, take the steps to do it. So when you say you have agents, does it cost somebody to sit down and talk with you, Anthony?
Not at all. Consultation is at no cost, no obligation.
No cost and no obligation. What do you do to get somebody to move the needle? What do you really instill in a person to take action? Or have you found that trigger? I'm asking because
well, you got to find out what's important to them. That's the first thing. What do you want to happen? If you become disabled, what do you want to happen? Do you want your paycheck to still come in? Then that's the case. If that answer is yes, then you need disability, right? This month happens to be Disability Income Awareness Month. So we gotta protect. It's always asked this question: if you had a machine in your basement, and that machine's job was to print out money, would you take care of that machine? Absolutely. Well, you are that machine. You go to work to produce money. So we got to protect it, right? So that's how, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen when you pass away? And who do you care about? If you love somebody and you owe somebody, then you got to protect those people that you're leaving behind. And I know we have to do a better job in our communities. I don't know about y'all. I am sick and tired of GoFundMe. I'm sick and tired of that. I did a Facebook Live about 6 months ago talking about it's time to retire GoFundMe in our communities. We can do better.
Absolutely. I agree with you. We just tuned in. This is Black People versus Financial Empowerment. How competent are you on the financial chart of securing your future, not only for yourself, for your family? Courtney, what's coming to your mind for, we're a generational show, Anthony. I represent the Gen X. Dr. Draper, she's a hybrid. She's a boomer millennial X. Z. She has all of them. What about you, Anthony? What gen do you fall in?
For the Gen X folks, young folks.
You Gen X or what are you?
I'm in the middle there. You know what I mean? I'm above Gen X.
You're 30 years in the game, so you're not no Gen Z.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So Courtney, how is your generation? Have you seen? Is it all TikTok and Instagram, or what's the financial temperature for your generation?
Yeah, I would say we will learn about finances through like Instagram and TikTok. Through that, I've learned a lot about like life insurance policies, like Anthony mentioned, and something about a Roth IRA. I started looking into that. I'm seeing so many videos on that, but people just give tips on that, and they'll like explain different financial aspects through the app. So I feel like we can learn a lot through like social media platforms. People do it on Facebook as well. And you can also learn through like Instagram stories. People will do like polls like, do you know about like a Roth IRA? And then, they could just do a whole segment. So a lot of people are just like spilling a lot of information on there.
So as they spill that information, what comes to mind that you could maybe want to ask Anthony as our expert today?
Yeah, something that I'm seeing a lot on is generational wealth and like building that. So I want to ask you, like, can you speak on building generational wealth and like, what's the significance of doing so?
Okay, good question. Generational wealth, number one, I always like to use this situation. If very few people, they might know that they know their father, they know their grandfather, they might even know the name of their great grandfather, but that great grandfather, if I left money to that individual, that great grandchild, they're gonna know my name, right? Because that's the generations. So when you start talking about generational wealth, and I know there's a lot of financial tools out there, mutual funds. You just mentioned the Roth IRA, but we got to understand the limitations on that. If you start making too much money, you can't even contribute to a Roth IRA. You know what I mean? And then you got to think about how much you can even put in your retirement plan at work. For your age, you can only put in, 19,000 or something? I always ask the question, why does the government put a limit on how much I can put in my retirement program? But as it relates to life insurance, you can put in as much as you want if you structure it properly. And that's the key. You got to structure it properly. If you want to put in $100,000 a year into a policy, you can do so as long as it's structured properly without it becoming what we call a modified endowment contract. So I think the key with generational wealth is we got to keep the government out of our pockets. And the best way to do that is with insurance. And they got the law set up. That's why you always hear that the wealthy pay less tax than middle class, because they understand taxes, right? So, and the government made that back in 1982, right? They came up with a tax law called the Tax Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982. Congress provided a mechanism for universal life policies to get special tax treatment. It's called Section 101. And then in 1984, they modified it, called the Deficit Reduction Act of 1984. They said, we're going to make all life insurance policies for income tax purposes. Now, Congress did that for the wealthy folks, right? But we have access to the same laws. But then they came up with a third one in 1988 called the Technical Miscellaneous Revenue Act that says that, Courtney, now you could put in $50,000 a year into a policy. However, you can't put in $50,000 a year and have a $50,000 policy. It'll seem more like an investment instead of insurance. So you got to make sure you got the proper amount of death benefit to handle that $50,000 that you want to put in. So that's what I mean by structure it properly.
So y'all didn't even know how strong insurance was. This is Black People versus Financial Empowerment. And Craig Talley asked, most people say, have you heard this? Buy term and invest the rest. Does that still exist?
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, it does. But that most people don't invest the difference, right? They spend the difference. That's the first issue. The second part is that, and I hear people say, well, you should be self-insured at 60 something. You shouldn't need insurance. Where else can I put a lot of my money into and not have to pay Uncle Sam? You know what I mean? So you can do that.
How does that happen, Anthony?
Well, if you could get a whole life policy or a properly funded universal life policy, as much as I want to put in it, that's what the wealthy people do. That's what banks do. In fact, that's what major corporations do to fund the CEO's retirement. Not a 401k plan. They do it through life insurance because of the tax advantages and the strong guarantees. They don't do it with a 401k. If a CEO makes $1 million a year, he wants to put aside more than $25,000 in a retirement plan, right? So he put it in insurance.
Even if you're the CEO of the lemonade stand, you want more than that.
That's right. So that buy term and invest the difference. That formula has failed middle America. I'll tell you that straight up.
Yeah, probably because we as human beings aren't responsible enough or haven't shown responsible enough to invest the difference. And a lot of times we don't know how or where to invest the difference.
And even if they did, I mean, let's say you got $800,000 in cash, you still need insurance because that's the foundation of it all. You know what I mean?
Hey, let me hold some of that, Anthony. You spitting out these numbers. A lot of times people don't even think they can accumulate that. And like you said, I think it does go back to mindset. Dr. Draper, what's on your mind? Like sometimes you can miss the financial empowerment
right
at a certain age, and then
that's what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
Because we hear a lot, and you've even said it. When you're young, you do this, you do that. You're young, and you can save for the future, or you can invest in insurance, whatever the product may be. But I looked at a statistic recently that said, I don't know, it was over 50% of retirement age people who are not ready for the retirement financially. Did they just miss the boat? Is it just too late for them?
I don't think it is, because we're living longer. You know what I mean? Let me give you a good example. I had a young lady in my office the other day. She is 59. She's talking about retiring at 62.
Okay. I want you to go older, though.
Older than that? 70?
Well, let's say the person's 65. Or let's say that they already, they still working, maybe they don't have enough to, like you said, to live off of at the lifestyle that they became accustomed to. And so would we just say, okay, you just got to keep working till you die? Or or is there an on-ramp for people who are beyond the 59 and a half?
Right. Well, the thing is, they probably have money somewhere. A lot of elderly folks are really big believers of the bank. They may have $200,000 or $300,000 just sitting in the bank, really pretty much collecting dust. And a lot of times I'll ask them, well, what's this money for? And they normally say it's for my grandkids or whatever the case may be. So in a situation like that, they can still put money into an annuity, and have a guaranteed lifetime income that they can never outlive, so it's really not too late. They definitely should not be in the market at older age like that. You know what I mean? They really shouldn't. But at this point, they cannot afford to lose any money.
What market you talking about? Safeway? What market you talking
Stock market.
Hey, if you just tuned in, this is Black People versus. We used to call it financial literacy. Literacy seems like such an old word. We're gonna change it to empowerment because you need to be empowered about your education in wealth and finance. And we have a special guest, Anthony, and we're just here to really to push you today to go deeper and further in. And I think we can show his website because he has a plethora of capable agents who are willing to help speak to you that cost you nothing to get you on the right track of not only financial empowerment but to generational wealth like Courtney spoke about. We had a question come up about a trust. I know everything is just going through everybody's mind, but does your company handle trust as well, Anthony?
That's not one of our areas of expertise. However, we do have some agents that do that as another part of what they do. In fact, our chief marketing officer, he does a lot of that, setting your business up right with trust and making sure your family doesn't have to go through all the probate and the court decides on what they're going to do with your assets and all that. So that is something that we recommend. It's not a company service that we provide, but I do know folks that deal with that on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So yeah, you said we got to walk a little bit and then you're up and running. That's when you can't skip second grade and go straight to the 10th grade. I got you. so you take them in when they crawling, Anthony, financially, and then you help them to get up and running.
Got to start off early, man. I just saw the question Craig asked. Yes, we do a lot of seminars, and we want to do more. We do them in churches, civic organizations, fraternities, sororities, book clubs. We do a lot of them with people just want to get their family together. I think now people want their younger generation to do better than they did. So they're encouraging their children to start planning early. When I mean early, I mean when you get your first job. I mean, if you think about the teenagers now, they're working at McDonald's, they're still wasting $75 to $100 a week eating out. I mean, that's what they do. What would happen if they saved it and just got a return of 3%? They could be millionaires. You know what I mean? So we just got to teach them early and start early so that they can have better time to build up some wealth.
So being in this industry, Anthony, when you hear start early, do we have any examples of a young person who just listened?
Yes, we do.
I think they just need one or two examples.
Right,
from somebody in their generation who said, "Hey, I just saved this much, or I put this in that much." Are you fine? What are you finding out there when you check the temperature?
Well, a lot of times it's really up to the parents to kind of force them to do it. I know when I was growing up during the summer months, my mother was a bus driver, so she didn't work during the summer months. In order for us to get school clothes, we had to work. So we used to come home and here's my check this week. And she said, all right, this is going to be set aside. This is going to buy you school clothes. This is going to help me since I'm not working during the summer months. So we were forced. But after I got out of the house, I got undisciplined again. So I had to turn around and get disciplined again. But, one of the biggest things that made my heart swell was probably about 2 years ago. This was early in my career when I first started. We started a program on a young guy and who is now in his 30s. And he put the down payment on his house that his parents started for him when he was 2 years old. And now, of course, he's a client. And now he has children. So it's a generation say, he would not have had that money had his parents not started doing this. And they made him give him $200 a month while he was working during the summertime. And all that went to the down payment on his first home. And so I love those kinds of stories.
That's phenomenal. Dr. Draper?
Yeah, that is very good. I mean, I know some young people who are very disciplined financially, but I also know some young people who are very obsessed and worried about the financial markets. Can you say something about these latest crises, at all, how it impacts your business, if at all, about the banks? Were there 4 banks that have failed this year, and
Mhm.
and the feds keep raising the interest rate as they did again on yesterday? How does it impact your business, and how does it impact people's outlook for investing, or does it?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, actually, it helps our business because I said, well, how much are you putting in the bank anyway? I put aside $1,000 every time I get paid. I said, oh, okay, what bank is it? Bank of America. I go to the website. So you're going to continue to put $2,000 in an account that's giving you point and not even 1% interest. So I tell them about the rule of 72. If you got 1%, it will still take 72 years for that money to double. So you're getting less than 1%.
Good
Why are
God
we
Almighty.
putting our money there? Because that's convenient. You know what I mean? I said you could put that same amount of money into our insurance policy and have a guaranteed interest rate of 3% and no risk involved, and it's protected. So when you look at that, I think we just got to educate our folks to know that regardless of what's going on, World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, insurance companies still pay dividends. That's powerful. That's the safest place. That's why the wealthy do it and banks do it. It's called BOLI, BOLI. Bank of America and Wells Fargo, each of them have over billions of dollars, like 20 billions of dollars of permanent life insurance because it's an asset for the
What?
banks. It's called BOLI, BOLI. Yep.
BOLI, bank
Bank owned life
owned life
insurance.
insurance. Okay. I'm on, technology. I'm right on the Google while you're with it. Look it up, y'all. Don't take his word for it. The banks are taking our money, right? Where they can invest what, $10 for every $1 we leave in the bank.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And
They
charge
can
someone else interest.
and
So
charge us interest and give us back
yep.
0.00001
Yep.
1%
Yep.
on our money. We are not awake, people.
But you can be your own bank. We can
Be
teach you
your
how to be your own
own
bank.
bank. Everybody, look, this is Black People versus Financial Empowerment, powered by the Afro-American newspaper, 130 years of informing, educating, and inspiring. And you're just talking about eating, but for less than 2 Uber Eats, you can get a digital subscription to the Afro. We got, y'all. You know what I mean? We want to stay Black owned and Black operated for the next 130 years, but it's going to take the dollar to circulate to us, so we can circulate it to you. We can circulate it to Courtney. We can circulate it through Anthony. We can keep circulating it all through.
Wait a minute, don't leave me out of the circulation of the
I'm
dollar.
coming. I'm coming to you, Dr.
Oh, you're
Draper.
coming, okay.
You know what I mean? It's a
Can't leave you
circulation.
out.
It's a system. You know what I mean? Everything is a system. We got all kinds of systems, but we needed to circulate beyond the beauty shops and the barber shops. We have to figure out how to circulate this money. And if there is some crumbs or some cheat codes that the wealthy have left, Anthony and a few others have cracked it that says bank on yourself and don't
Yep.
let the bank and all of these other 401ks and all this other stuff who locks your money up. How long, Anthony, is your money locked up?
Well, I
In
mean, you can
jail.
get it, but Uncle Sam gonna show up early if you touch it before 59 and a half.
They lock your money up, baby. You saying you can do better? You can beat the 401k returns through insurance.
Well, and that's something that I think I see a lot out there on Instagram and TikTok, trying to compare it to a 401k, and it's really not to compare. They're two different vehicles.
Okay.
Life insurance is just a parking garage to park your money for opportunities that show up. Now you can design it and design income and all that, but you got to understand the cost of the insurance itself. So it's really not, it's apples to apples kind of thing, but we got to understand what it does. A competitive rate of return is safe, no risk involved. but it's not a 401k. You know what I mean? So that's a little different.
So Anthony, I want to shift the conversation just a little bit. We touched on it. So there's a person this is a made up person, but you may have come across this person, a young person, a person between, let's say, 25 and 40, and they don't think they make enough money to bank on themselves. They think they have to wait until they get to, and I'm sure you hear that, I want to do it, but I don't make enough money. I can barely get my rent. So what do you say to young people? I mean, what, if they think they don't have much money, certainly if they think that they won't have it, but if they only have how much can they get into the insurance business? What's the minimum, I guess, is what I'm saying.
When you say insurance business, to become an agent or just to buy a policy?
Become an agent and to park their money there.
Okay.
In one of the instruments that you or one of your agents might offer.
Okay. First thing we do in a situation like that is we got to fill out a budget sheet. Very few people fill out a budget sheet. I mean, churches run on the budget. The Afro has a budget. So why don't you and I have a budget?
Just say it one more
So we
time.
got to see what's going out, see what's coming in, and see what's left over. So even if it is a small amount, let's say we did a budget sheet, this person forward, they say, well, okay, all I got is $60 a month. Well, the first thing we got to do is guarantee their insurability, right? I say, you know what? Right now, based on our analysis, you need at least $500,000, and it's not in your budget to get a permanent plan. But we can start off with a term, and then we can go back and convert that term without ever asking another medical question ever again. That's the most important thing, is to get covered. That can never be taken away. And then as your income goes, by this time, I would have recruited them to be an agent. So now they are going to make more money. So now they can go back and afford the permanent plan that they really wanted.
Okay, hold on, Anthony. Anthony is saying, look, you might have capped out at your job, but if you come, what's the name of your company, sir?
American Classic Agency.
If you come to American Classic Agency, there is no ceiling to what you could earn working with you. And some people don't understand that, right? They don't understand that I can earn what I kill. I don't like to say that. That's old school, but like it's no ceiling on my income, basically.
That's
Eugene
right.
Mitchell says, teach Craig Talley, thank you. Pamela, what's up, President Stewart? Byron D says, loving on it. Lenore Housey says, this is great information. The thing about great information, y'all, is we got to share it. And you got to be willing to share. So hit the share button if it comes up, whether you're watching it live now or somebody's going to take this information and make a difference. Because somebody earlier said, we tired of GoFundMe's, people. But it's a GoFundMe, unless you're really young, is a selfish act of laziness. If you're an adult and have kids, it is a selfish act of laziness that you don't take the time to even ensure that even your burial happens. And nobody likes to really talk about it, but you better talk about it, because if not, you'll be trying to put together the funeral. Because believe me, Wiley Funeral Home and them, they're going to get their money.
Right.
And whatever the funeral home is, you got to come up with it, and you can just handle it by just sitting down with a professional like Anthony Stewart or one of his team members and getting your affairs in order. Right? Do the work, y'all. Stop being lazy. I'm pushing everybody, including myself. And if you feel like I'm stepping on your toes, I'm not. I'm stomping on them because of the frustration in our community of what we do with our money, from the Jordans to the Gucci to whatever, all of the Louis and Gucci, and no insurance and no sacrifice. Dr. Draper.
First of all, I want to speak up for the funeral homes, because they are a business, so they're supposed to get their money.
Absolutely.
So Brother Wiley, we're not calling you out, but they're supposed to.
Oh no, we're not calling you out, but we saying,
no, I'm just saying. But on the GoFundMe, what people don't realize, they set up the GoFundMe, It costs you nothing to set it up. You're going to pay nearly 3% plus a transaction fee every time somebody makes a donation to the GoFundMe, because GoFundMe is a business as well. So it's an easy way to, to do it, but it's like the fees we get when we buy tickets. Just people need to know the intended recipient. So that's another hit on your money, right? Right, Anthony Stewart. That's another hit. Not only should GoFundMe not be your option, as Mpeckable said, but it's also not 100% to the person you're trying to raise some money for.
That's right. And
Courtney,
it is, like I said, if you love somebody, you gotta do better. And I know there are organizations out there that all they sell is burial policies. That's it.
good
And
God
I was
Almighty.
talking to a guy the other day, and oh man, I'm doing this and doing that. I said, but yet you're selling $30,000 policies. This guy is 40 years old with 2 kids. What are you gonna do with $30,000? Well, he's gonna die and he's gonna use it. Okay, he's gonna die if he has $1 million policy. I mean, what's $30,000? And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of what they did to my parents and grandparents 100 years ago.
Hmm.
I remember like it was yesterday, the insurance man coming and collecting that $12. And I remember some weeks my parents said, tell them we don't have it this week, because it was 10 of us, right?
Hmm.
So, and people still doing that. So that's why at ACA, we say we're going to make sure every individual has a bare minimum of 250,000 minimum, whether they're 20 years old, 25 years old, single, no kids. It just makes sense.
Absolutely, because it's a time when the kids can't take care of themselves.
That's right. That's right.
And as a responsible parent, you want to make sure that they can be able to really sustain the lifestyle for a second.
That's right.
But then as they get older, maybe the needs change, and they have the ability to earn income themselves, and you don't have to pretty much fill the gap. Not that you don't want to give them a head start, because we want them to have a better chance at starting getting a house. You know what I mean? Owning something, understanding insurance, and really getting a financial empowerment early, so that we can really understand how it works. Like you said, the tax laws, it's so many codes in it, and the rich just know how to go get it. You look at these people like, how did this billionaire only pay this much in tax or do X, Y, and Z? They had somebody who knew how to read the code and how to instruct them on financially how to. They're not beating the system; they're using the system. I would like to say. And Anthony, thank you for what you do for 30 years of teaching people. Tracy Walker says this is vital information. She's 39 years old, finding herself in that position, daughter, and planning her financial future. Also caring for her mother and mother-in-law, which a lot of people are now doing, because that's the right thing to do, Tracy. But you also want to, if you plan early enough, if mama plans early enough, daddy plans early enough, there is some money to help you, so that you're not burdened down during this whole situation, and that you can afford somebody to help, even if you don't want to put them in another place, but somebody can come in your house and give them the care and the things that they need to really make their life comfortable as they
Mm-hmm.
get older and transition, because we all getting there, and hopefully when you're older. But as we see, it's not always the case in the news. People are dying younger and younger, and you don't know when your time's up.
That's right.
I mean, I'm going to share a sad story. I had a friend of mine who took some kids on a spring break, and there was some other kids drowning or out in the ocean, and they went to help them, and the current pulled them under, and unexpectedly, he passed away, and somebody else's child that he had brought on vacation with him passed away. When
Mm.
they went on spring break, they had no clue. Now, I don't know where his financial affairs are in order or not in order, but you just really don't know. But
Mm.
what you do know is you can hear all of our voice right now, and we're saying, get it together today, because tomorrow you're not sure. So
That's
if you
right.
don't know where to go, start with Anthony. Start with Anthony, and he can guide you. He might not be the guy, and he might be the guy for you, but you can at least have a starting place. Put the website up there one more time. One more time. And this has been the Chicken Box in Baltimore. That's wings and fries and lemonade and all other kind of good things. If you're hungry, I'm hungry I'm really hungry right now. I want a grilled chicken box because I stopped eating fried foods years ago because that was a decision I made. Just like this decision y'all are going to make to get your insurance and get your affairs financially in order so that you can hand something down. But we get on the box and we speak our truth about something, and we like to just and give you the information.
So
That's it.
Impeccable.
Go ahead.
You gave part of Tracy's question. I think her name was Tracy.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tracy.
I think it was for Anthony. She wanted some advice being in that sandwich generation. There you go.
Okay. I don't know if it's too late, but as we are in our 30s, 40s, we're gonna have to ask our parents, do they have long-term care? And if the answer is no, right? If that answer is no, and most of the time it is, unfortunately, there are vehicles out there that have what we call living benefits. For example, an insurance policy that has terminal illness coverage automatically included at no additional cost. Chronic illness coverage automatically included at no additional cost. If you cannot perform 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living, such as bathing, continence, dressing, eating, toiletry, and transferring, that's exactly what long-term care offers.
So can she buy that for her parent? So can she buy it for her mother or mother-in-law if her mother-in-law is already over a certain age or not?
It depends on their health, but the product goes up to age 85.
Got it.
As long as they can qualify medically, you know what I mean? So, critical illness covers heart attack, stroke, cancer, renal failure, cystic fibrosis, sudden cardiac arrest, heart valve replacement. All this stuff is automatically included. Critical injury, coma, paralysis, severe burns, and traumatic brain injury. And as of January of 2023, they just added the Alzheimer's rider. That's huge.
It is.
Wow.
That's huge. So people are doing that now because they say, I'm 60, my mother's 64, a long-term care policy would be $900 a month, but they can buy this life product, and if she passes away, the child gets the tax-free death benefit. But if they ever had to use those riders, man, oh man, it's the best decision you've ever made.
Riders, we have talked some language that some people are spot on. They know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Other people are going to say, "What in the world is a rider?"
A rider is like an accessory. You know what I mean? It's like an accessory to a policy. That's the best way I can explain.
A rider is an accessory. Is it? So it's like some jewelry. I mean, what is it?
It's a benefit that's in addition to just the death benefit. These other bells and whistles are attached to it. You know what I mean? So the terminal illness, the chronic illness, the critical illness, the critical injury, the Alzheimer's call, all of those are benefits that you can use while you're living. So that's what really makes the difference. These are living benefits that are automatically included.
I hope you're writing down some of these words.
So you buy your policy first, right? And then you add the rider.
No. When you buy the policy, the riders come with it.
Okay, but you have to add them on, or they automatic? You add them on. Automatic. Okay. And
automatic.
That's for any amount of policy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Automatic.
Tracy, that was a good question, Tracy. That's a good policy.
So don't just look for the $12 policy and think that that's the best. When you're spending $300 for cable and internet. Anyway, we're gonna go somewhere else different than that. This has been of our empowerment. We're just scraping the surface. You could talk 30 years about financial empowerment and still probably learn something new. If a lot of this went over your head, it'll be a litmus test that it's time to call a professional and to start to do your own digging. We're going to go around really quick and get on the box. I am traveling this week, and I am not sure when I started my internet, and they got a 24-hour thing. So if I pop off, that means I had to renew my internet signal, y'all. But I thank everybody for tuning in. Courtney, you on the box. Talk to me about financial empowerment.
Hey, give him a choice.
Yeah. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your financial literacy knowledge with us. I think that this is a conversation that people need to hear, including myself, because these tips and general knowledge can help people just like get ahead in life. You're doing great things by sharing the knowledge with the Black community and other people as well. So we greatly appreciate you for joining us and for everything you do. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Oh, I'm off.
I thought I went to the death of the wheel of death there. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear. We can still hear you. Not now, so I'm gonna jump on the box because I don't know. Impeccable looks like he's got a frozen smile. He look, well, if you're gonna get frozen, make it with a smile. And so, yeah, he's gone. He'll be back though. So, Anthony, thank you again for supporting our Black Business Matters Expo. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did, and you know,
I did.
great information, great people were there, and you're so right. And so, I just want to say, as I'm on the box, that we spend money on a lot of things. If we really took the time not only to do a budget, because a budget is a plan to spend, but if we took that plan to spend and lined it up against what we actually spend, we will find that there's some money we cannot account for because we don't know where it went, because it was $5 here, $10 there, especially now that we're doing electronic transactions. People don't have cash in their pocket. When you had cash, if you got back home and your cash was gone, you said, okay, it's gone. I still might not know how I spent it. But now with a swipe or a tap, you know, people are doing it, and then they go into their overdraft and, you know, all of that. And so we're not keeping good tabs. And I would imagine, though, if we did, we would find that there's some change in the couch and that it's affordable for us, regardless, if I heard you correctly, regardless of age, regardless of, I mean, with some stipulations, but, you know, regardless of where you start your journey. One of our viewers said something about generational wealth, but if we don't do it, and you said something about leaving inheritance, as the Bible says, to our children's children, if we don't start somewhere, and $5 under the mattress a week is not going to get it.
Nope.
Especially with inflation. So thank you very much. It's been very, very helpful. I think there's a fear sometimes of just making that step. You know, making that step. Even for young people, it's like sometimes it's I'm young, I got plenty of time, or I'm old and I ran out of time. But making that first step. So again, thank you. And we'll get the last few minutes. If Impeccable comes back, he can jump on the box. Now you don't have to talk about this topic. You can talk about anything you want. Consider the box. This is your pulpit. Consider the box.
Okay. All right.
Your pulpit, or whatever you like to say.
The thing is, just really enjoying what you do. I really enjoy the business. I mean, I wake up every day just as excited as I was when I first started. And I just want to, our company really wants to help other people. I mean, we are dead serious about what we're doing. Last year, we put over $1 billion of future tax-free transferable wealth back into the community. This year, our goal is 1.5 billion. And so we got to cover 6,000 lives at 250,000. That'll get us to the 1.5 billion. So that's our campaign right now. And it started out as just a vision, and then it became a mission, but now it's a movement. So we're excited about it, and we just want to get out and work in our communities and present at churches and civic organizations and let them know who we are and what we're doing. And we're 60% of women now. I thought I'd throw that in there. 60% of our sales force are women.
That's great. That's great. Women are great relationship builders, as well as closers.
That's right. That's right.
You are a wise president. And you have agents all over the country, right? Is that what you said? Okay.
We'll be in Chicago in August.
Oh, okay.
And it's a conference called the CAAFP, Conference of African American Financial Professionals. And this year it's in Chicago the first week in April. I'm sorry, August.
So I'll be in Chicago the first week in August as well. Courtney, who's in Chicago, for what they call LMA, Local Media Association
Okay.
Fest, LMA Fest, and so
Okay.
we'll be in
Okay.
Chicago. I think it's August 1st, 2nd, and maybe the 3rd. Don't hold me. I
Okay.
know it's August the 1st. All right, Impeccable. We've all been on the box. We have spent your money on our policy, so thank you so much.
Absolutely. That means I have it. You know,
Yeah.
man, if you spend my money, that means I have it to give. You can't help nobody unless you get it together yourself. And
That's right.
it's people that you need to help. It's organizations that you need to help. And my whole thing is don't be selfish because it's not just about you. It's about somebody else. And everybody could use, even if it's a small business, they may be able to be educated. They may be able to be empowered through your impact financially. That'll help them again turn around and then help the next person. But if you're only thinking about me and what's in it for me, and like you said, we're not getting nowhere. We got some folks, some athletes, and we got some actors and some entertainers, and then we got some insurance salesmen who who may be making more than all of them, and y'all don't know about it. And you think the one way to wealth is just you better be famous, or when really it's only a small percentage of our star quote unquote celebrities that are carrying the wealth. But
Okay.
you got to learn that it's other ways out there. And thank you for allowing us to at least think about something differently.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
you
So,
start,
yeah. Before we hang up, Anthony, what's the best way for people to reach you? Somebody put a number in the chat on Facebook. Is that what?
did you come up on my box? Wow, wait.
You can reach me at 301-794 4290. 301-794-4290. My cell is 301-602-9045. We're located at 7375 Executive Place, Suite 300, Lanham, Maryland.
You gave up your cell number. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, I'm
ain't playing,
serious.
y'all.
People serious that people can never say I couldn't reach you. Nope, I gave you both. So you
Yeah.
can reach me.
A man of my own heart. I give my cell phone out as
Yeah.
well, and I don't have two numbers. That's it, because I have a choice in terms of what I do when the number rings.
Yeah, that's it. We take away all the excuses.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a great thing. So thank you for sharing. All right, Impeccable. We're off the box.
Y'all pushed me off the box. I wasn't even finished. Anyway,
No, go back on. Go back on.
I
Go
don't
back.
know. I'm in my feelings now, so I'm gonna let it go. I'm emotional today. So anyway, let's get our financing is in order, y'all. I hope you go to afro.com and support the oldest black business in Maryland, because we're gonna be here for you. 101 million. If this reaches one person, then this whole stream was worth this hour time that Mr. Stewart, Dr. Draper, and Courtney came on and shared their just their presence. And it wasn't for ourselves. This was for you. And that's what we've done in the past, and that's what we're going to continue to do. When no other voice or no other entity will say, hey, black people, let's get it together financially, the Afro will always say that. So visit afro.com. We have Legacy Edition that our mothers and grandmothers and some young people love the nostalgic throwback newspaper. But digitally, we have to the second news that you can always keep up with. So support us, and we'll be definitely there to support you. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today, and do us a favor. It's gonna cost you nothing. If you can't afford a subscription right now, like us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, on all these they matter because they matter to our advertisers. And if you don't know about the media business, it's supported through advertising. So thank you, everybody. God willing, until we meet again, take care of your family. Don't be selfish. Anthony Stewart, we appreciate what you do in the community because it's needed. And continue. Subscription is $40, less than 2 Uber Eats, or $100, which if I broke it down by the day, you might spend it in one day at a dinner. But it helps us bring new talent. And a lot of times when other media organizations won't allow our all-star African American professionals to get a start, the Afro has always been here with their doors open. and to help. And a lot of people, if you meet them along the way, they'll say, I got my start at the Afro, and that's because of your support. So thank you, everybody. That is not a PSA. That is just what it is. And those who it reaches, we love you for it, and thank you. And thank you for sharing. Until next week, we look forward to another interesting conversation on, I'm not sure yet until the producer tells me. Well, I'm going to be here for it, God willing. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.